picture.
Okay, we're at the bottom of Tzadi Testament base, 99b. Today's daf is going to be 100. So we spoke about the sugya earlier, stumbled upon the sugya of giving out truma in the Goren. That it spoke about a kohenes that her child, that question is a person who was a Suffolk Kohen, Suffolk Eved. That was yesterday's Gemara. He doesn't know if there's the Balabais and the Adon and the Eved. They don't know who's who. And one is a Kohen, one is the Eved. So over there I spoke about giving a Chayla Kechad, and the Gemara came upon the subject of somehow you're not allowed to give an Eved Truma by the Goren because people might think that he's a Kohen. And some hold you could because we don't assume just because someone got Truma that he's going to be a Kohen. Maybe he's an Eved Kohen. So that was the Gemara that came in to explain the Mishnah. And because of that, we get a whole sugi over here. And it starts in the bottom, about 10 lines up. 99b, Tanu Rabbanan. Asara ein cholkan Truma basic one is there are 10 people that you don't give them Truma by the silo, means when they give out Truma to the Kohanim, so there are 10 people that they're not eligible to get. They are allowed to eat. Some of them, even though they're not allowed to eat, but they're allowed to give to their families. And still, we don't give them. By the basic one, the Bryce is going to say that we could send it home to them. They could get, they are eligible to receive it, but not that we're going to give it out publicly. What are the 10 people? Eluhain. And the Bryce is going to explain each one. Cheresh, or the Gemara is going to explain each one. The Bryce says, Cheresh to Bekotan. I'll explain all of them.
That's three.
That's three. Tumtum Androginus, another two. Eved Vehoisha. Call it another two. They're not dafka group. I'm grouping it, but not dafka that is groups. A slave and a woman, even though Bas Kohen or H Kohen is eligible, but she's not going to give it.
A lady slave or no?
What is that?
It's a lady slave?
No, a woman. The H Kohen, a Bas Kohen, and she's allowed to eat truma. And still, a regular woman, a Kohen is a chashuva woman, right. But she doesn't get truma by the basic one. She could get it sent to home. It's all talking about sending them. We're not talking about the mutter to eat. It doesn't say they can't eat truma. They could eat truma. Some of them can't, but they could still give it to their family. But they don't get given out. When they apportion it, they give it out. The Kohen, the person, the Yisrael who has truma, so he gives it out. The Kohen come to the silo and they give it out to the Kohen. These people are not eligible. Right, women. The Kohen, it's the Bas Kohen, H Kohen, she doesn't get. Orel. But Tomei, a person who's uncircumcised, and or a person who's Tomei, and the last one, no sheisha she'ena against law. If a Kohen married a woman who is not allowed to, like a Grusha, Chalutza, even though he doesn't become puzzle, but we don't give him truma. His son is a cholol. The woman became puzzle because of a bia psul. He doesn't become puzzle, but he's still not eligible to get given out a present of truma. That's what the Rashi says. 10 people doesn't explain why. The Gemara is going to go to explain each one. And all of them we could send home to them. They can get a delivery to get it home to their home, but they're not allowed to get it in public when we give it out by the Beit Hagoren. Except for two that we don't even send to them. We don't even send to them at home, and that are the person who's tamei. We'll see the Gemara why. Why doesn't the tamei get? Even though right now he's tamei, but he's going to become Torah eventually, and also he can give to his family. So still, you don't send it to him. We'll see why. And also, the Kohen who married a woman who's not supposed to, so then we don't even send it to him because we want to encourage him to divorce her. He's not allowed to be married to her. So that's more of like a deterrent that he should go on to become a kosher Kohen again.
Means usher or just the local guy?
I think it means that it's usher. It's not say usher. Question about the word hogain means. It's not fitting for him. It's not fitting means not appropriate. It's a mismatch. No, it says ain't no. It says it's not fitting. Sagina would be the opposite. So then you'd say that then you would not say this euphemism when you say the opposite. The opposite is called sagino.
I would say
like sagino means a lot of light. He doesn't have any light. So you call him, he sees a lot of light. He sees very well. That's called sagino. That's opposite. A euphemism, we say the opposite. So name shall Yisrael. You really mean Yisrael. When you want to say something not nice, so then you say the opposite. But that's not over here. It just doesn't say, everyone was asking, it doesn't say it's strong enough. Just say it's not.
I'm just suggesting, unless it says the Farish not. Maybe it means like she's not snore. She's not.
I think it means us. I think that the law here would only be if it's us. If it would be, I think so. We're not going to.
Right.
Rashi says psula lakuna. There's Rashi in the bottom. Psula lakuna. Okay, that was the Bryce. Now the Gemara is going to explain the whole thing. So just I didn't even translate it yet. Cheresh shota v'katan. The cheresh usually means a deaf mute, both deaf and mute. Shota, whatever level of retardation, whatever is called a shota, katan, a minor. Tumtum androgynous. Tumtum means both of them means we don't know if they're male or female. Tumtum means because it's covered over with some flesh. You can't tell the organ if it's male or female. Androgynous means both. He has both organs, androgynous. Eved Knani, Isha is a woman. Horel, uncircumcised, Tameh, right? And also, right now, he can eat truma. Tameh is also eat truma. So is an Orel. The Orel also cannot eat truma, but he can give it to his family. Notice Isha, and again, it's slow that he married a woman who's possible with all these people, we don't give out a portion of truma when we're apportioning it. And now the Brisa goes to explain it. Online. Yes, please.
This finally goes on. This finally goes on. I don't know why it's not working.
Okay. Bishlama Cheveshot V'Katan. Labane Denin. We do understand why Cheveshot V'Katan are not eligible to get truma because they don't have the das. So that doesn't explain why not. So what if they don't have das? Why is that a reason not to give them truma? They're allowed to eat truma as long as they could watch it that it shouldn't become tameh. So Taisvis, Rashi also maybe means the same thing, even though he doesn't say so specifically. In Sukkah, Rashi seems the same thing.
On the way home, he'll give it to his friend.
Or the way to say it is maybe he won't watch it Petara. Maybe you're saying that in other cases.
I'm saying that it's closed.
They give it to somebody. Okay, maybe that's what it means. Taisvis says because of Chash Tumah, and even though there's din that a katan, even though he's a katan, if he's smart enough to take care of Tumah, so then you do give it. He's not eat truma. He's allowed to eat truma if he's old enough to take care of. That's there's a level of katan that he's smart enough to take care, and he's allowed to eat truma. Taisus points it out over here. Taisus says on the bottom, how could you? It says you don't give him in the goren, but he's allowed to eat truma. You can send it home to him. He's not going to wash it with tara. Taisus says there's somebody taking care of him. Apotropos, he has somebody taking care of him, but they don't give it to them because then they might give it to him even if it doesn't have an apotropos. And Taisus says the pshat is that it might become tamei. Rashi says similar. Rashi says zilusa. It's considered a zilzul for the truma. And Rashi in Sukkah seems to explain himself that the zilzul is that people think that he's not watching it the Torah, even though you happen to know that this kid is old enough to be able to take care of the truma, but not everybody knows about it. So it's considered a zilzul to give the truma to somebody who people don't realize is capable and responsible to take care of the truma. So you don't give it to them in the basic runners. You could send it home to them, like the Brisa says. You could send it home, a delivery package to them of truma, but you can't give it to them in public. The next one is tumtum androgynous. Now, usually tumtum androgynous is a chash that maybe he's a woman. And since it says that a woman is not eligible, so they're also not eligible. But it doesn't mean, here we're going to see that the reasons that I say about a woman do not apply to tumtum and androgynous l'chora. So the Gemara is going to explain them on their own. How come a tumtum and androgynous, you don't give them truma? Now, the reason why we understand this is because they're in it, that they're not a male, not a female, or something in between, or something doubtful. So Rashi says also it's considered a zilzul to the truma to give it to such people.
What?
It's
Bad people.
not bad. It's considered a zilzul. So nothing to do with tumah because they're responsible people.
Yeah.
They're not like the katan. Rashi, the Gemara says very briefly. The Gemara doesn't explain. Rashi says zilusa the kachim. Zilusa the kachim. It's a kind of it's surely a mum. No question that it's a blemish. It surely is a mum. He's saying that according to this, how come we don't send? Is there such a thing not to send to a baal mum? And so I'm saying this maybe is a worse mum, but it's a mum that's considered zilzul. But a good question. I'm not saying it's not. Yes, please.
The idea is the fact that it's a bria b'fnei atzma is different than if they were part man and half woman, then the man part could get.
There's no such thing as a half man. There's no such thing as a person who's a half man, half woman. Here it means that there's no
Both man, both woman.
both man and the woman, both of them are eligible for truma. You would the part of the woman we're going to see soon that the reason they don't give to a woman is not going to apply over here. Because usually when we have an issue that a woman is pater or whatever or usher, so then we'll say that the androgen is tumtum, so maybe it's a woman. That's enough reason. Here that's not going to apply. We'll see soon in about 5 lines what the reason that a woman is not eligible to get truma, and that doesn't apply here maybe. So therefore, we have to look for another reason why not to give some to an androgen. Right. Now, it's not enough just to say that maybe he's a woman. That wouldn't be enough reason not to give him. So the reason is because he's call it like a freak. It's not a regular situation of a male or female. So that's a zilzul to give truma. Maybe the other pshat besides Rashi, that's what Rashi says Ilusa. The next case, Eved. Now Eved we had a focus already. This means this Brisa that says that you don't give Eved, but a basic one is we had to the yesterday that is my focus. I'm saying you do. The only reason not to, Eved Nami, the only reason why you shouldn't is because people they might get the impression that he's a Kohen. they see this person getting truma in the basic run, it's might think he's a Kohen. Really, he's an Evet Kohen. They're not going to realize that. They're going to think if he got truma, he must be a Kohen. And then when it comes to other things about Kohen,
They want to marry him then?
yeah, they'll think that, or they'll. You're not to marry a Kohen, but it might think
yeah.
you think that they'll marry him as they won't say he's an
They're
Evet.
worried about the yichus.
Right, that you might say that he's a Kohen, and really he's only an Evet. So that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That they'll think he's a kosher Jew. Maybe he's even a Kohen, but really he's only an Evet Kohen. So technically, you should be able to give him truma, but if people get the impression from giving him truma that he's a real Kohen, so that's why we don't. And over there it says in the Gemara yesterday, Machlokes Rav Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda, if that's true, if you see somebody getting truma, is that enough of a proof to say that he's a Kohen? Well, he says that they say bring proof that you're a Kohen. So then somebody comes and says, I saw him getting truma. So is that enough? So in the place of Rabbi Yehuda, that would be enough, because in the place of Rabbi Yehuda, Malin and Truma Liyos, and you see somebody getting truma, that's a proof that he's a Kohen. It's enough of a identification, and therefore we don't give an evet because we are makbid that the people who get truma should be Kohen. In the place of Rabbi Yossi, they gave it even to an avadim, and they didn't take that as an identification. That's because you saw somebody getting truma. It doesn't mean anything. Yesterday we had the Gemara that somebody made a mistake, and his testimony almost caused a mistake, because people thought that he got truma, but they got truma in a place where they give truma to avadim also. But this Bryce holds that you don't give avadim truma.
So it must be like in the place of Rabbi
Yehuda, right? That a place where malam and truma liyos. The next one, oral v'tamei. How come you don't give oral v'tamei? Now, oral is not allowed to eat truma. We had that at the beginning of the parak called oral. That oral is not allowed to eat truma. We had a whole sugi why not? But uncircumcised, as Rashi points out over there, even if it's machlokes fashonim, but we pass like Rashi that even if he can't, the medical orders, he's not allowed to have a circumcision. Still, he cannot eat truma. Places over there, Rabbeinu Tam maybe argues, but even if it's whatever reason it is, let's say with Rashi, because he's not allowed to have a bris milah, but he's not allowed to eat truma. But his wife can eat truma. Is that true? We can discuss. His avadim can eat truma. His avadim can eat truma, but you don't send it. He can't take it. You don't give him a portion by the basic runners. Why not? We'll say in a second. Also a tummy. A tummy person cannot eat truma, but also his wife and his children, avadim, they can eat truma. And he also could eat truma eventually when he's going to become Torah. So how come you don't give him a portion in the basic runners? Mishum de me'isi, because that's disgusting. What does it mean disgusting? The person who's uncircumcised is called a cherpa. It's called a disgusting thing to have even if he's honest, even if it's not his fault. But the Maisa person who has a foreskin is considered disgusting, and also tummy, defilement is considered disgusting. So it doesn't say the word ziluz over here, it doesn't say zilzul, but that's also the same idea probably, that since it's disgusting state of an oral and a tummy, so therefore we don't give them truma in public. We could send them home. We'll send it to their houses and he'll give it to his wife and children and avadim, and maybe he'll wait for it until he's going to be Torah again. But it's zilzul to the truma to give him in public a person who's an oral or a tummy.
Are these two cases are the first two cases of someone who can't eat truma?
You're right. Everybody until now
that we said couldn't collect could eat.
Right. Everybody else could eat, just you don't give them a portion. And here, this happens to
give
be.
it to someone who can't eat it.
It also wouldn't be a problem inherently. There's no problem to give them just because they can't eat. The reason is because
it says me'is.
That's the answer. Because just because they can't eat is not a reason not to give them. You'll give it to them, and they'll take it home, give it to their family, give it to their avadim. Wait for until they are going to be.
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to justify the word me'is.
What's the answer?
It's me'is to give someone who can't eat truma. In public.
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe I hear. Maybe it's a bit more. I think that it's a bit more sharp. The word me'isi. If you say the word zilus or something like that, that's a zilzul. It's like lightening truma. But the word me'is means disgusting. That's what it means. It means it's disgusting. So I think that we do find sometimes that the oral and tummy are called disgusting. The Gemara is also that it's called. The pasuk says that the oral is called.
It wasn't their fault.
We're going to talk about soon about that, about being their fault. But even it's not their fault. But it's a disgusting thing, like it says, "Cherpa hilanu." That's a cherpa. How come?
The oral also can't eat the Pesach offering.
The oral?
Yeah,
for sure. That's what the pasuk is.
Not.
By truma, it's not a pasuk. The pasuk is by Korban Pesach, and the Gemara in the beginning of that parak learned out from Pesach to truma. The source it says that an oral is not allowed to Korban Pesach. No and number 10, no lo mishum kanasa. And the reason why we don't send truma to the isha sheina geneslo, to the man who married a woman sheina geneslo, is because of knas. I think that's what the words of knas means. A penalty. That means that we want to encourage him to divorce her because he's not supposed to be married to her, even though technically he's not a truma. But knas in order to be able, I think, to get him out, to get him to divorce her. So 9 out of 10 we understand. The Gemara says this is one big bishlamah, holding our breath. All this we understand. 9 out of 10 we understand why we don't send them. We don't give it a lot them truma. But
Why wouldn't the last one be these?
I don't know. But the Gemara says it's even stronger that it's a knas. And over there we're not gonna even. We're gonna see soon that we're not gonna even send it home to them. Not even get a home delivery. So 9 out of 10 we understand. Ella isha my time alone. Why don't we give a woman? A woman could be a chashav woman, a bas kohen, Eishes kohen. Why not give her truma? You don't give truma to the woman by the basic bonus. Why not?
Even though she's ruined to eat it.
Yeah, she's mama. She's the wife of the kohen gadol, the daughter of the kohen gadol. No, we say it nicely. We say not eligible. We'll send you home. If we don't carry it home, we'll send it home to you. But we don't give it to them by the basic bonus. Why not? What's the problem? So the Gemara says 2 reasons. Pligi bar papa Ravuna Bredi Yeshua is machlokes. Here it says the word pligi. That's to point out that the Rambam passes like both of them, even though the Gemara says pligi. They're arguing with each other. Rav Papa and Ravuna Bredi Yeshua. We see they were chavuzas. They were colleagues, but they had a machlokes over here, and each one has a different reason. Chad dama mishum grusha. One says because sometimes she'll be divorced. Means even though Eishes Kohen is allowed to eat truma, but once she's divorced, she's not allowed to anymore, and she might continue getting. Once she'll be ready getting truma, she might continue coming.
Yeah.
I don't know why she doesn't realize. She knows she's a grusha. She knows she's not Eishes Kohen anymore. She's going to take truma. She knows she's not allowed to eat truma. I don't know what she thinks.
Because she would get chorus.
Not chorus, but azar.
But she might sell it. Let's say she wouldn't eat it.
But either that's also stealing. Okay, you say, but it's also that
She's divorced and she
she knows she can't. She's not eligible to get truma anymore.
but she needs food and everybody knows that she gets it, so she gets it and she can sell it.
But really, she's not eligible to get it. She's stealing. She's stealing from the Kohen. I mean, I'm not go to the Kupashal stuff.
She's desperate.
She's desperate. Okay. Okay, that'll be the case where a woman might do it. So we want to stop that. So we don't give it to any woman Kohen because some are Bas Kohen, also Bas Kohen, only as long as she's married to Yisrael. But every woman could be in different status. Sometimes the woman is a Kohen, unless he becomes a Cholo. If he become a Cholo, is it possible to become? I don't remember. Cholo is born a Cholo. And these are the people, but okay, the men don't usually change, unless the case knows Isha Shein Hogenis or whatever. But women, their status changes. When she's a Bas Kohen, she's allowed to get. When she marries, then to Yisrael she can't. When she's Isha's Kohen, she could, and when she gets divorced, she cannot. So since her status changes, we're not going to give her truma because her status might change. That's one reason. That there's a problem of seclusion because in the field, there weren't a lot of people over there. When you go to the field to get the Goren is not a place which is very occupied. It's a field. So the Kohen come to get truma over there, but there are not many people over there. So it could be that there's going to be yichud. The woman is going to come. We don't want women coming into the basic one. It's like, don't come. If they're going to come to get the truma, so they might be there alone with the Bala Sada, the one who, we don't want women. It's not safe.
Not
safe.
there are always people around there.
Where?
At the Goren.
At the Goren, not. It seems not. What is it? It's a barn. It's a silo. We have it's a storage house for the truma. So there are times that it gives out the truma, but not that it's always busy.
Isn't there something where you go up and thing and it makes a pile? That's not the Goren.
Yeah, but that's when the people are working. The people in the field when they work. But now it's already done. It's finished. Now they're giving out the truma. Now it's just.
That's not
it's
a pile out in the field somewhere.
I don't think it's in the field. No, it's already going to be in the Goren. The Goren is the threshing floor after they already finished processing it, and now it's grain ready to go.
No, it's grain.
It's already piles of boxes of
And it
grain.
could be
You
a
know.
building.
So yes, that's what the Goren is probably the threshing there.
Uh-huh.
A silo. A silo is a building usually. There is called sometimes it means the threshing floor, but I think
So what
that
is the threshing floor?
okay. But this is after. This is already after it's already been threshed and processed completely, and now it's ready to
So
go.
there could be a chashash of yichud.
Yeah, so we don't want women coming to places where it's
Where
Well,
she
not-
might be
not-
the only one with the men.
right. But not many men.
I'm curious, is it yichud mamish or it's not sneezed?
I think I would take it to be a
Because probably
trash.
probably v'nichnas or something like that. And not mamish.
It could be not because it's a place that's far away. Like it's not.
Yeah, but she's afraid that other people might also come.
It could be. Could be also that they can close the Goren. You know, if there's it might be too much seclusion.
I don't understand. Every Goren is a different Goren.
The Goren is usually
It's not one
so
Goren.
therefore one.
Therefore, some people are very active and there's lots of people around.
A Goren is a Goren is a place which is not so active. A Goren is a warehouse. It's not a place which is, we think warehouses with coming in, the trucks coming out. It wasn't like that. They had to go in, and then when it's the end of the season already, means that's not anybody threshing over there. They don't have the workers anymore. So it could be the times when they're harvesting. It could be over there. Everyone comes to harvest and stuff. But now we're talking about
This is a
Truma.
story.
This is already after. It's
There
already
might be
stored.
some areas where the people grew up and they're not.
You're coming to ask or answer?
I'm coming to say that for sure there's a possibility for.
For Yichud.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what the Gemara
Some
said.
people are of lower
We're not talking
status,
about.
and they might do.
We're not talking about. We're talking about how many people there are. We always know there's a problem with Yichud. We're not going to say he's a tzaddik, and that's not the point. The point is it a place which is seclusion? So we're saying that a goren is a place of seclusion. Maybe not. That's my focus. We're pligi, but so what's going to be enough community between the two reasons? Sometimes you'll have one, and sometimes the other one not. The Gemara is going to say, "My benai, you benai beidari the makav lamasa v'lo shlichi buhu inshi inami the merachik v'shlichi buhu inshi." So the goren, the Beit Dori is the Aramaic for the word goren. A goren is called the Beit Dori. That's Aramaic for the word goren. And Masa means a city. Makav lamasa means it's near the city. Masa is a city. Karov la'ir. Masa. So close to the city, Rashi says means that people know who everybody is. If a woman comes and the goren is nearby the city, so they know what's doing. This woman is divorced, not divorced. They know who she is. So there's no chash that you're not gonna that you can think she's not divorced. If she's divorced, you know about it. And the merachik, if it's far away, means you don't know who's who. People come from a faraway city and you don't know if she's divorced. So the chash of grusha is only in a place which is far away. On the other hand, there are goren, but people mentioned just a second ago that maybe some goren people, maybe there are busy places. So here it says that this place which is a busy goren, so there's no chash yichud. So that's what the Gemara says. You could have one factor without the other. It could be peidor the makav l'masa, well lo shlichi buenshi. It could be a place which is close to the city, but people don't frequent over there. So as far as a chash grusha, there's no chash grusha because everybody knows if she got divorced.
Because it's close to the city, everybody
Right.
knows that.
Who's who? Everyone knows who's who, right?
Yeah.
But since it's a place which is not so frequented, so there's a chash yichud. So according to one reason, it'll be mutter. According to one reason, it'll be yasser. And the opposite also you can have. You can have a place in Inami. The merachik is far away from the city, so people don't know if she's a grusha or not. And according to that reason, we will not give her truma. The shchichibu, when she is a place which is well frequented, this warehouse is a busy place, for whatever reason it is. So therefore, there will be no chash yichud. And the Gemara seems to say that it's only. We're not going to say it's usher in any event. We're not going to say across the board it's usher because sometimes only if the chash applies. If there's a chash, a grusha, only in a place which is far away from the city, and the only place where there's a goren which is not so frequented. And if you have both cases that is close to the city and also it's frequented, so then there'd be no way to give to a woman. The Gemara says only because of these chashas, and if only one chash applies, it'll be a machlokes, and if both chashas don't apply, so then it'll be mutter. The Rambam says both of them, even though the Gemara says pligi, the Rambam doesn't pass, and he says both of them. And he seems to say that if you have both situations that is no chash of either one, then it would be mutter also. That's the end of the Gemara. It went through the 10 people, and it said, how come we don't give them truma by the silo?
How'd you get into this?
Because the sugi before spoke about not giving an eved. The sugi was somebody is a suffer kohen, suffer eved. So it talks about giving him at a base agronos. You don't give an eved. That's his price holds like Rabbi Yehuda that you don't give truma to an eved because maybe you'll make him a yuchas. The Bryce ended off. The Kulan, so that's under the Bryce. That even though these people are not eligible to get a portion by the goren, by the warehouse for giving it out, but you could send them home. You send it home to their houses. You give them home delivery.
Mishagrin.
Mishager is to send. It's the Aramaic for sending. Sometimes it has the word mishader, sometimes mishager. Shagar alafecha.
It's to send.
Shager. Is there? Oh, it is the modern word. Modern word? There's a modern word like that? And deliveries, they're called she. I think shidur. What's the modern Hebrew word for deliveries? Mishloach. I think they have the word shidur also. I forgot exactly. I think there's a Hebrew. I think modern Hebrew also uses the word maybe. You have to look on the trucks that have delivery, whatever they call them, FedEx Express, stuff like that. If they
Shigrar is a gorer. That's too.
okay. I think they use the word nowadays also, if not now. But anyway, we finished. Two exceptions. Out of the 10, 2 of them, you don't even send them home. You don't send them truma to their house.
Because they can't eat it, right?
So what? That's not a reason. It's not a reason not to. First of all, the tamei.
Oh, the man can eat it.
Which man? There knows Ishashana against law. He can't eat it. Right. And the tummy also has people in his house that can eat it. He could eat it after he becomes star. Also, right now he's tummy, but he's going to be tummy in a couple of days. So that's not a reason not to send it to him. It doesn't say yet, but it says you do. So these two are exceptions why you don't send it to them.
Okay.
Now, it could be that we understand that the no Ishashana and against law is part of the knas. That the knas is that it's not going to get truma. So not only are we not going to give it to him if he comes, we're not going to give him home delivery either because we want him to divorce his wife. So that's understandable. How come we don't send it to him? And the more said about the tummy, and the Gemara's main issue was to know what's the difference between a tummy and an oral. And an oral is mashma over you do send home the delivery, and the tummy not. What's the difference between the oral and the tummy? And that's the Gemara's diya kabul oral which I agree on, like that we could deduce from the brisa that we would send a home delivery of truma to the oral. How come the oral yes and the tummy not? My time, I'm honest. Tummy nami are honest. The Gemara sees that both of them are honest. It's not their fault. So the oral, for some, I guess the onus is that he can't circumcise, and the tummy, he became tummy. It wasn't his fault. The Gemara thinks, and therefore the Gemara doesn't see a reason why he should give one a knas more than the other one. How come? The Gemara seems to understand the reason why you're not sending it home either is besides the reason we said before that it's a zilzal. That's only to give it in public. But why not send it home? And the Gemara seems to say the reason is because it's his fault, so kind of a knas. So why is there more of a knas by a tummy than by a oral? Both of them is not their fault. The Gemara answers, "Hi nafesh onsei, hi lo nafesh onsei." That the oral is not his fault at all, but the tummy it is his fault. It means he could have been more careful not to become tummy. That even the tummy person, he could have been careful not to become tummy. I don't understand exactly because sometimes he's supposed to become tummy. There are mitzvahs to become tummy sometimes. So I don't know if the Gemara means in those cases he would send it home. I don't know, but the Gemara says that the tummy, it's even though it's an onus, but it's not nafesh onsei. It's not a big onus. Nafesh means a lot, big, a lot.
A big onus.
Right, so it's not to buy the oral, it's a big onus. It's really not his fault. He can't circumcise, not allowed to, or it's very difficult to circumcise. But by the tummy, even though it's an onus, it's not a big onus. So it means it is a little bit his fault. He's a little bit liable for becoming tummy. He could have been more careful not to become tummy. So therefore, we don't give him even a home delivery. New Brisa, Tan Rabbanan. Eved, Va'isha, Ein Cholkum Lahem Truma B'Beis HaGronis. That we know already. That's what the Brisa said. That the Eved, you don't give in the basic one. I said the reason is because people shouldn't think that he's a Kohen. And the Isha, we said two reasons, either because of Grusha, because Yichud. So these, you don't give them procurement in the silo, which we learned already. But the Brisa continues, in a place where you do give a woman, so you give her first and you give her leave immediately. And that's not so clear. He said a second ago that you don't give a woman truma, and now it says you do it. There's some places you do. That doesn't make sense. Someone asked a kasha that we said before that there's sometimes you do if it's frequented and if it's near the city. But the Gemara doesn't want to say that. The Gemara is the diak over that's mashma that sometimes you are allowed to give truma or something, not truma. We'll see right away that sometimes you do a portion to women, and that's what the Gemara wants to know. What does it mean? My kama. What does it mean? First it says you don't give, then it says in the place where you do give, so she goes first. That by truma you don't give to a woman. How about Ma'aserani? Ma'aserani is a woman eligible to get Ma'aserani. She's a poor woman. So when you give out Ma'aserani, so then the woman is eligible to come. So that goes without saying that the woman is eligible. And now the Bryce is saying in a place where you do give women, for instance, not by truma you don't give, but Ma'aserani you do give. So when you give women, so then she goes first even. You don't keep her waiting online. If there's a woman online, right away you give her. My time because it's a zilzal for the woman, a poor woman, she's waiting for her handout. So we don't want to give her the busha. The busha of the woman is more difficult for her than for the man. So therefore, the men that are online to get Ma'aserani, they should wait. But the woman, we don't want them to wait online. I'm not sure if the Gemara means even if the men came first. Even it could be that even if the men came first, the woman comes online, we give her right away. Maybe the Gemara only means when both of them come at the same time. The women go first. I'm not sure. The Rambam, I was trying to figure out from the Rambam if he means there's sometimes that even if somebody came later, in general, by the Torah, waiting online, so whoever comes first, he goes first. But then there are exceptions. Talmud Chacham, even if he came later. So I'm not sure if there's Gemara that it says you give a woman first, is even if she came later. She's in the back of the line, Ma'aserani, right away, we give the woman right away. Could be. Rabba, Meresha, Kiavos, Gava, Itza, Ladina. The more is comparing this also to a Din Torah. Rabba said in the beginning, originally, when it came a man and a woman to a Din Torah, Kamoy, in front of me to a Din Torah, two different cases, not the same case, a man against a woman, then it's the same case. But I had two different cases. One was a man had an issue with a Din Torah, and one is a woman had an issue with a Din Torah, and there was a line. So Shavina Tig with the Gava Beresha, I used to take care of the man first. Amena, the Machayv mitzvahs, because there's a quality that a man has that a woman doesn't have. That's like the Gemara talks about at the end of Horias. If there's a question of saving one of the two, you only can save one. Who goes first? So the Gemara talks about men first because the Chayv mitzvahs. But he thought also, as far as the Din Torah, that the men have a cheshivas and the Chayv mitzvahs, so they should go first. But Chimon the Shemana, once I heard this, that as far as my Sirani, the woman goes first, Shavina Tigwa the Itza Beresha, my time I would take care of the issue of the woman first, because it's a zilzal that the woman has to wait for a Din Torah. That's a chiddush, because before she was waiting for my Sirani, she's waiting for a handout. So there I understand that as a zilzal. Here it says even for a Din Torah that she has some law issue. So also we're going to take care of her problem. It says zilusa for a woman to have to stand online by a bezdin. So
excuse me, kamai hafi. How does that go in the sentence? Is that a new sentence?
Kamoy, kama. If you have a asi gavra vitzel dina kamoy, kama.
Dina kamoi.
When they came before me, the kamoy means before me. When they came before me for the Din Torah, I would take care of the man first. And after I heard this,
and what's Sharina?
I would. That's an expression. Sharina tigra. The issue was going to be I would take care of them first. What do the words mean exactly? Sharina means
take care of the gaffer first. That's Sharina tigra.
Yeah. So the word tigra could mean a machlokis, and it could be it only applies to a Din Torah, that I would untie the machlokis of the man first. I don't know if that's the exact translation. That's the idea. I would take care of his Din Torah first, because it's chayv mitzvahs. Once I heard this halacha, then I would take care of the woman first, her Din Torah first, because it's a zilu, so that she should have to wait online. That's the question. Is the grocery store the same? I don't know. Here, there's some kind of a zilusa waiting by my running for sure. If there's going to be a handout line, a stucker line, then the woman goes first. And also by Din Torah, it could be that that's a sensitive thing. She's a Din Torah, somebody wronged her. She's trying to get her money back. Could be that that's like by some kind of a desk where they're taking complaints and things like that. Maybe it'd also be like a Din Torah. But in the grocery store, I don't know if it means that. I don't know if it's called a zilusa that a woman has to stand online like anybody else. I don't see that. I don't think it's a zilusa.
Unless she's a rebbitzin or whatever.
Then it's something else.
No, I'm saying not because it's covered there. I'm saying if she, for whatever reason, you see that she's embarrassed to women online. Let's say it's a minute more the men go to shopping and the women don't. And she's the men.
If it's a place that only men over there.
Did you go for anything? No.
They have for older people because it's hard. Also, maybe the cover, or because it's hard for them. So they have now a law that in all of the government offices, the older people don't have to wait.
Really?
Men, women, if they're older, I don't know which
From
age.
80.
What is that? From 80?
From 80 that they go back to the front.
But that's, I don't know if that's because of cover or because of difficulty. I don't know what they mean over there. Here, it has to do with zilusa. That is a zilusa for a woman to get my sirani. So how do we come out? That's kemaraga. Because truma, they don't get it all. Truma, we say we'll send home to you. Don't stand in line at all. Make it sound nice. Really, the reason is because of grusha and yichud. But we'll send you home a package. Don't have to wait on that.
But what would it be with the Din Torah? It's not. After he learned this, he even for a Din Torah would give the women first.
Yes.
Why? Because
it's a zilusa. It's also considered a zilzal for a woman to have to wait online by Din Torah. Any Rashi? Doesn't say.
I could say a pshat enough to the true pshat. A woman's more sensitive. It's anything that she could try it. She'll always have like some type of, not a complex, but like she's always.
So by Din Torah, is there some kind of sensitivity?
But it could be anything. A woman's always more sensitive about everything. So
I'm not sure if you have a waiting on the line at the grocery store, not be sensitive about.
I'll give you an example. You have two missed phone calls, one a man and one a woman. So a man, if you call him back another half hour, he's not going to be insulted. A woman, why didn't you call back right away? Like they're more demanding and more sensitive, no?
Yeah, the question is about to get insulted. Are they going to be insulted? There's some kind of a pagam, some kind of a zilzal. Okay, the Gemara talks about Ma'aser Money and about Din Torah. Anything else? I don't know. What do we have in the case? At the Mishnah, we had a case where there was a Kohen and an Eved. One owned the other one. The Kohen owned the Eved, and we don't know who's who. They got mixed up. The mistress and the Shifra, they gave birth at the same time. They got mixed up. We don't know who's who. So you have two kids. Each one doesn't know if it's a Kohen or an Eved. So the Mishnah went on to explain all the different ramifications of this confusion. And then it says if they grew up, so then if they grew up and married,
and the husbands died and they had brothers. We
Right,
don't know which one
right.
is.
It also talks about that they can't eat truma anymore, that they free, if they grew up and they freed each other, so then they can't eat truma anymore. As long as one was a Kohen, one was an Eved, so both of them could eat truma, because either is a Kohen or is an Eved Kohen. Once they freed each other, so then one is a Kohen, one is Eved Meshukla, can't eat truma anymore. The Bryce goes on, the Mishnah goes on to say more ramifications. But the Gemara is stopping on the point that it says Shichru, that they happen to, if they freed each other, sounds like if they want to, yes, not. That's how the Mishnah sounds, that if they freed each other, so then the following halachas come out. But the Gemara is surprised. Boy in, low, boy low. Only if they want to, they could. If they don't want to, they don't have to. As if to say they don't have to free each other. They should have to free each other. Neither one of them can get married. We said that while each one is a Suffolk Kohen, Suffolk Kevin, they don't want to get married because you can't marry a Shifcha because maybe he's a Kohen or even a Yisrael, and you can't marry a Yisraelis because maybe he's an Eved, so they can't marry anybody. So the Gemara is asking, we know that we don't allow them to remain in such a state that they can't get married. You have to force them to free. Amarova, Eima, Kofanoso, Meshachman Zez, Enacham, that's what it means. We force them. The case is that we force them to free each other because we have to put them into a state that they should be able to marry. We don't allow a state where somebody is not able to marry anybody.
But also, it's a sort of free slave, isn't it?
But this overrides.
That's why he's saying kofin. Isn't that why the kasha came?
No, kofan means even if we would say, not because it's us, because
there's a thing about you have the world was made to.
that's what the Gemara says. That's the reason kofan. That's what the Gemara means to say that. Hashem wants the world to be procreated and reproduced. So therefore, that's why if there's a stage where you can't get married, we don't allow it. We don't allow that it should be a state where someone cannot marry, a man cannot marry. You brought a different point that otherwise it'd be also to free a slave. That's true also.
Well, the first question was if they want, they do. If they don't, they don't. That sounds.
You have to. That's only one question. It's not. You're saying in the Mishnah that if you want to, you could. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You do have to. One question. One
so
answer?
I'm saying, do you really have to?
Yes.
Because isn't there maybe an isser to free a slave?
Even though this overrides it. This overrides this about freeing a slave, and you didn't have to. And that's the most kasha. Here it sounds like if you want to, you have to. Answer, you have to. Is the difficulty? You're not allowed to free a slave, but in the case of
You're not allowed to free the slave, but they can't get married. So
and therefore you must free a slave.
So then what it meant was that they were forced to. So that's what.
So here also that's what it means. It means they're forced to. You do have to. You do have to.
It doesn't matter if they didn't want to.
You tell them you must.
Okay.
Next Gemara, it says about Mishnah has a whole list of things that he has a suffix if he's a Kohen or Yisrael. It has a whole list of things. You get all the chumras, and then it ends off. It says again the same thing, like it just says it again that you get all the chumras. We listed it. We have an exhaustive list already that you get the chumras of a Kohen and Yisrael. So why does the Mishnah say again you get both chumras? So the Gemara wants to learn out something like what is it coming to be marba? What else is it coming to tell you? Didn't we say an exhaustive list? So the Gemara says no. One thing we didn't say it. What do you do if they bring a korban mincha? So what's a korban mincha is a meal offering, and everybody can bring a meal offering. But there's a difference between when Yisrael brings it and when the Kohen brings it. When Yisrael brings it, you take kmitza, means you take a fistful of the mincha and you burn it on the mizbeach, and the rest of it is eaten by the Kohanim. And when the Kohen brings a mincha, so then there's no kmitza, you burn the whole thing on the mizbeach. V'chol minchas kohen kalil tiyeh something kalil taktor that you're supposed to a mincha when a Kohen brings a mincha, it's different than when Yisrael brings a mincha. When Yisrael brings a mincha, you do kmitza, that comes on the mizbeach, and the rest of it is eaten by the Kohanim. Oh, v'chol minchas kohen lo se'achel. I forgot exactly that the whole thing is burnt on the mizbeach. So the more saying this person who brings a mincha, we don't know if he's Yisrael or Kohen. So what do? That's what the Gemara says, that he's going to get both chumras. He's going to get both chumras to bring a mincha, both like a Yisrael and by a Kohen. And that's
2 minchas.
No, that's going to be a question. No, two minchas is not going to be enough. Every mincha that a Kohen brings is supposed to be completely burnt. Every mincha that Yisrael brings is supposed to bring kmitza, and the rest is eaten. What do you do with this one? What do you do? So the Gemara says, "Nechmetzas k'minchas Yisrael, ve'ena nechelas k'minchas Kohanim." That has to do, you have to do kmitza because maybe he's Yisrael, but you can't eat it. You can't eat the leftovers because maybe he's a Kohen. So what do? Okay, it's that. Hakom kol batzmo, b'shivam kreven batzmo. First, the Gemara tries to say that you do kmitza, and usually when you have kmitza, you burn the kmitza. The rest of it, the shirayim is called, the leftover, is eaten by the Kohanim. And here you're going to burn both of them. But you burn both of them. First, you do kmitza, even though everything's going to get burnt, but you have to do kmitza. So you do kmitza. and then you take the Kmitza and the Shiraim and you burn both of them separately. But the Gemara says you're not allowed to do that. Ikri Khan, Kol, Shem Yimenu Leishim Areyu Babal Taktivu, this is Isser, that when you have you have the Shiraim of a Mincha, when you do have a Mincha which is supposed to have Kmitza, the leftover is not allowed to be burnt. It has to be eaten, you're not allowed to burn it. If the Gemara is a drasha to say, Lo Saktiru Yimenu Ishal Hashem, there's a drash Rashi brings down that anything which of it goes to the fire, that's the fancy drasha. Kol, anything. That part of it went to the fire, which means that you did kmitza on part of it, and that goes to the fire, and the rest of it is leftovers. A rape about taktiru. You're not allowed to be maktir it. You're not allowed to be maktir the shirayim that's not supposed to be burned. So what are you going to do over here? You told me that you do kmitza, and then you burn the kmitza and the shirayim. You're not allowed to burn shirayim.
Let it go bad. Let it go bad, and then throw it.
Maybe the Gemara is going to say similar to it. Maybe the Gemara is going to say what you said. But first the Gemara said you burn each one, and the Gemara says you can't. You can't burn the shirayim.
Okay.
So that's a kasha. The Gemara answers, that there's a way to burn it in a way that it shouldn't be transgressing the issue of being maktir. That you put it on the mizbeach, but you don't say I'm doing it for a korban. I'm doing it as if I'm burning wood. I'm using it for fuel, and that you're allowed to do. That's the question. Some hold you allowed to do that. Rebbe holds you allowed to do that. So according to him, you have an eitzah. You put it on the mizbeach, and you say if it's a minchas kohen. Not if it's a minchas, we don't know who it is, right? But this guy, we don't know if he's a Kohen or a Yisrael.
It's a minchas Yisrael.
We don't know which one it is. So if it's a minchas Yisrael, so then I'm just burning it as wood. I'm using it as fuel. And if it's a minchas Kohen, then I'm being maktir. And then you didn't get that very on the side that it's a minchas Yisrael. You said I'm not burning it as a mincha. I'm burning it as wood. And according to Rabbi, you're allowed to do that. That would be an eitzah. The Tanya, but the masik lulu shem eitzim kabbalah that he burns it. The word masik is to burn. He burns it, or maybe he brings it up. Maybe the word masik is to bring up. That he brings it up for wood, like Rabbi Elazar holds that you're allowed to do that. The Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, Rabbi Elazar Omer, the first white line, that the issue is only to burn it l'shem reich tichoach. You're not allowed to bring it as an offering to Hashem, but you are allowed to burn it just for the purpose of wood, as burning fuel. So then there's a eitzah, so you can bring it on the mizbeach, and you say if it's a minchas kohen, then I'm burning it as a hakrova, as a korban. If it's a minchas Yisrael, then I'm burning it just as fuel. But the more says that's the machlokas. Not everybody holds like that. The one is saying not allowed to do that. They don't hold it as eitzah. So what are you going to do with this mincha, which is suffix minchas Yisrael, suffix minchas kohen? The answer is Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. There's another eitzah, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, and here everyone's going to agree. The Tanya, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon Omer. That you the kometz makriv and the leftover, which if you don't know that you're allowed to bring it, so then what do? Mispazvin al beis hadeshen. Rashi says the beis hadeshen is the place where you put the ashes to and they get swallowed up. The Gemara says that you take it off the mizbeach every day. Tumas hadeshen. You go down the mizbeach, go down the ramp. You make a U-turn. You turn left and make a U-turn, and you walk 10 amos, and you put down the deshen next to the ramp. And that's called the place of the deshen, mokum deshen. So you put it over there. So just put it over there, and like Chaim David said, you're not going to be maktir it. It's like you have nothing to do with it, so you put it over there. I don't know if that's the point of not throwing it away, but you're putting it on the place where it's not going to be burnt. So you scatter it. You scatter it on the base of deshen. Where's the base of deshen? It's on from the foot of the ramp, 10 amos towards the
The
mizbeach.
next morning, the people, some Kohen is appointed to take away.
No, it might not be there anymore. The next one, they say it gets swallowed up over there. It doesn't say b'feiros machlokas, but it seems to get swallowed up over there. And you're talking about taking it out. You're talking about that when it gets on the atzos adeshen, when it's a lot of deshen on the mizbeach, so then they take it out in big cans, psachta, they take it out. That's not this. The base adeshen doesn't say that to take it away. But the point is that you're not makriv on the mizbeach. The Gemara started off saying that you do kmitza and burn both of them. That the Gemara says only contra b'loza could you do that when you burn it l'shem eitzim, but a contra b'loza didn't hold it out. And here the answer would be to put it the comments you burn them as beach, and the rest of it you put by the base of deshen. Even over there also seems to be machlokes. Not everybody holds like a B'lezer Reb Shimon. The case over there is about a minchas chote shel kohanim. It's talking about that a kohen brings a minchas chote over there. The din is if there's some of various, there's a din of olav yored. Olav yored means that there's a korban chatas that you bring that has what's it called, a scale, or that sometimes if a person is poor, so the Torah allows for some of various, 3 of various, the Torah allows that you bring a regular chatas. If not, you bring a chatas ha'of. If not, you bring a chatas a minchas chote. There's a meal offering. So this is called the kohen who's a very poor, $1. He's very poor, and he brings a mincha. And the question again is, what do you do with the minchas chote of a Kohen. Do you do Kmitza? Do you do burn the whole thing? So Rabbi Shimon says you do Kmitza, and the rest of it you put by the Beis Hadeshin. And the Rabbanan say that you burn the whole thing. So if the Rabbanan say that you don't spread it out on the Beis Hadeshin over there because they say you're supposed to burn it, but here that you can't burn it because here you don't know if it's a Minchas Kohen, Minchas Yisrael, everybody will agree that's the Eitzah to do, to put it on the Beis Hadeshin. So what did that Gemara say?
Is it Beis Hadeshin outside of the Kodesh? Isn't it?
No, we just said it's 10 amos at the foot of the Kevesh. Rashi says that. Beis Hadeshin, where's
10
Rashi?
amos towards.
You go down the ramp.
Yisrael,
If you go down, no, you go down the ramp.
Yeah.
If you'd be a Kohen, going down the ramp up the Mizbeach, then you turn left,
You turn left.
When you get to the bottom of the ramp,
You go
turn
east.
left, make a U-turn, a U-turn on the left, and go walk towards the Mizbeach again. I'll put a picture on, but I'll take the time to find it. And you walk 10 amos towards the Mizbeach. The Kevesh itself is 30 amos long, and you go
The
about
little
half
hole
long.
on the right-hand side.
What?
That's for the wine or something, or for the what?
You're talking on the
There's a
Mizbeach.
little
You're on the Mizbeach. You're on the Mizbeach, or you're on the bottom of the floor.
Next to, just to the, in the Kevesh, by the corner, by the southwest.
No, we're
corner.
on the southeast. We're on the east of the Kevesh, east of the ramp. The ramp is on the southern side of the Mizbeach,
Yeah, so east of the ramp.
east of the ramp.
Okay, and on the
10
west of the
10.
ramp is where there's a little hole where something goes down, but that's liquid. I forget if it's
And that
wine.
would be not by the Kevesh. That would be more.
Right.
Oh, you're talking about the.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so this
Good.
is
This is on the
This is the
east of the
pylon, it's
east
east.
of the
South. It's
east of.
on the
east of
southern east of the ramp. East of the ramp. The ramp is on the southern side of the Mizbeach,
And this is.
and east of the ramp,
Mhm.
1/3, 10 amos out of 30, 10 amos towards the Mizbeach. You go off the ramp, make a U-turn to the left, walk 10 amos and put it down.
Okay.
So what's that called? That's
That's Beis Hadeshin.
Basically.
It's a pile? Big pile?
No, it could be. I think they it says that it gets
Could be a
swallowed up. No. So they put on the floor.
No, just come.
Put on the floor. I think that it gets swallowed up.
Give the name base.
Makom. The word base doesn't mean house always. Base mit Pachaim, it doesn't mean there was a house over there. It was the area. The word base means a makom. It wasn't a room. No room. It was outside. It was in the chutzah. There were 24.
We were about
Base in the-
people tripping up there and falling. To the middle
It's not middle. It's next to the ramp.
next.
We should have pictures that we had. We should have all these pictures. No, we had a big map one
Yeah,
time.
we-
Big diagram.
We had these
We should put it up someplace. That's it. Okay, Mishnah continues. More interesting cases. Very fascinating Gemaras. We know that a woman, after her husband, if she wants to get married again, she has to wait 3 months in order to be able to discern the child, if it's from the first husband or the second husband, because if he's born after 7 months,
I'm sorry, just go back. That's because we didn't know whether he was a Kohen or is
Yisrael. And that's why we didn't know the milk is burnt or not. So we do Kmitza and we put it on the Beis Hadeshin. Mishnah. We spoke about cases of a confusion if he's a Kohen Yisrael. Other cases come up now. A Kohen or Eved before the two kids got mixed up in the nursery. That was yesterday's case. That you had 2 women that they didn't know who the children are, so they got mixed up. We didn't know who's the Kohen, who's the Eved. Another case. A woman, after she leaves her husband, for whatever reason, he died, divorced, so she's not allowed to remarry until there's 3 months of this to discern that if she's going to become pregnant, we should know which husband it's from. And this instance, in the Gemara's time, there was such a thing as a 7-month pregnancy. So we want to make sure that after 7 months, she's going to become pregnant. We don't know, is it 7 months pregnancy from the second husband, or is it a 9-month pregnancy from the first husband? So you have to wait 3 months. And then we know for sure if she becomes pregnant within the 3 months, so then she's from the first husband. And we'll be able to tell already. So here, she didn't wait. She didn't listen to instructions. She got married in between, and Taka became pregnant, then she has a child. We don't know who the father is. Here's the case. We know the mother. We don't know who the father is. We don't know if the son is the son of the first or the second. If it's from the first, was a 9-month pregnancy. From the second, a 7-month pregnancy. But the Meister, what do we have? A baby that we don't know who his father is. And the 2 choices are the first husband of this woman or the second husband. And she also had children. This woman also had children from both husbands. She had children definitely, a child definitely from the first husband, a child definitely from the second husband, and this child in the middle was a suffix. We don't know whose husband, who's his father. And he died without children. And he has a wife. What do you do? What would you say? You have this child, he doesn't know who his father is, and he died, and his brother's supposed to do
It could have
Yibum.
been the one who died, the child.
No, you don't know who's child.
The one who is the suffix, the one who we don't know who his father is, called him the suffix, he died, and he has a wife without children. Yeah, he died without
I
children.
guess both brothers have to give.
Right. Why? Because they don't know who's his brother. The real brother has to give chalitza or yibum, and we don't know who the real brother is. So both of them have to do it. Could one do chalitza, one do yibum?
No,
Why not?
we don't know. We don't know who's the real one.
Yes, so do chalitza first, and then the second one should be able to do, even if it's the wrong one. So, but she has chalitza already. It could be. No, you mean to say?
Once you do chalitza, then you can't do yibum.
Then it's not the same family. Only one of them is the real brother. You have a brother from the first son of the first husband, son of the second husband, and this one doesn't know who his father is. So only one of them is the real one. And let's say they know the brother. Let's say nobody else. No other brothers in the family. And
It could be the wife of his brother.
right, from his mother's side. Right. So that's the answer. So really, she has to get some kind of a p'tor from both sides because he doesn't know who the real brother is. One of them is the real brother. She doesn't know who her husband's brother was. So she needs to get a p'tor from both of them. So each one gives chalitza. Sometimes we say one can do chalitza, then the other one can do yibum in some cases. But this case you can't because they're definitely related through the mother. They have a common mother. That's the case over here, that they have a common mother. So if it's not going to be yibum, it's going to be this, or marrying a brother's wife from the mother's side. So both of them have to do chalitza. That's what it says. Now, how about if one of these, the Vadai brothers died, the guy who's a suffix stayed alive, and his brother from one of the fathers, a suffix brother, died. So what does he do to that woman, to the widow? Again, you only can do you can't do yibum because maybe it's not his father's son, maybe it's his mother's son only. So therefore, chalitza no yibum. All that is good.
Yeah.
We got to the bottom of the page.
Figure that's all the other cases.
What do you mean all the other
What is
cases?
the second one? You just said where
We said one case, the same case that there's one suffix son, and there's a vadai son on either side. One case was that he died. What do you do for his wife? And the other case is that one of them died. What does he do to their wives? So both cases we say the only chalitza, don't even, because if it's not your father's son, but he's your mother's son, he's definitely your mother's son. You don't know if he's your father's son. So if he's your mother's son, not your father's son, so then you're marrying a sister-in-law without a mitzvah. So let's do chalitza. But then the Mishnah continues, how you low on the base. How you low achim min arishon v'achim min hasheni shalom ha'oseim. What if he has brothers from both? They are brothers or suffix brothers from both of those fathers, not from that mother. Till now we spoke about that they were definitely brothers from the mother, through the mother. Mm-hmm. But now the case is that he has other wives also. He had other wives, and the first husband and second husband have children not from that woman. So then there's the possibility to do evil. He could do chalitza or yibum because there's no problem. If he's with a brother from the father, so he did yibum. If he didn't, so he just married a strange woman. If there are no other brothers over there, she's not shomeres yavam. There's no other brothers over there, so then there would be no problem to do yibum because either if it's the father's brother, so then if it's the father's son, he's doing yibum. If it's not the father's son, so she's not a strange woman. So he married her. There's no problem. If it's the son of the mother, so then there's a problem because even if he's not the son of the father, there's no yibum, but he's the son of the mother, and the son of the mother would make that it should be Eshisachim.
The other one was looking for the diagram.
Hopefully I don't find a good picture. Try a little bit more. Not getting a good one. Okay. It might be still here, but I don't see it. Why not? Okay, that's up. Okay, we tried. Thank you. Okay. So the mission is good that if they have a brother that's not a brother from the same common mother, so then there's no problem. Either do marry. If it's Yibum, it's Yibum. If it's not, so then he's not married a woman. No relationship. So there's no issue. If that's good, we go further. Third line. Of these two fathers means he doesn't know his father is. The husband of the mother's first husband or second husband. But here, case one is Yisrael, one is a Kohen. So what's the case here? Simple case. He doesn't know if he's a Kohen. This kid doesn't know if he's a Kohen. He comes to the Rav. I don't know if I'm a Kohen. Maybe Kohen, maybe Yisrael. Because he doesn't know who his father is. So now we're going to say, what do? You give him all the chumras. Notice the Isha Ruya the Kohen. He's not married, only allowed to marry somebody who's kosher to Kohen should marry. Maybe he's a Kohen. He can marry Busha. But maybe he's a Kohen. He's not allowed to become defiled to Mason because maybe he's a Kohen. And if he does become Tameh, he's not Chayv Malchus because
Maybe he's not.
maybe he's Yisrael. Ain't Nochel B'Truma. Can't eat Truma. Why? Maybe he's not a Kohen. If he does, he doesn't have to pay the penalty because maybe he's a Kohen. He gets both things. That he doesn't take money from him only if you know for sure. He doesn't get a portion of Truma by the Goren because maybe he's Yisrael. If he does have Truma, like his own field, he separates Truma, so he doesn't have to give it to a Kohen because maybe he's a Kohen. So he could sell it, and the money is his because it belongs to him. He can't eat it, but he can sell it. It's the same. It's a repeat, copy and paste of yesterday's Gemara. He doesn't get a portion in the base of Mikdash if they give out kachim. Maybe he's not a Kohen. Also, Rashi says even if it will be a Bechor, something a live animal, also he doesn't get it. He doesn't get Manas Kahuna.
It's not the same.
So if Rashi yesterday had problems with that, then Rashi says the best shot would be to give him Bechor or Cherim, things that are not kachim mizbech, not things that you eat, but things that are Bechor, that the firstborn animal when it's alive, or the Cherim, and go to the Kohen. So also he doesn't get a chus to get that. But if he has it, he wouldn't have to give it out. If he has a Bechor, a firstborn animal, he wouldn't have to give it to the Kohen. Maybe he's a Kohen, maybe he's a Kohen himself. If he stole his chulin, so usually Israel has to give 3 of the organs to the Kohen. He doesn't have to, but maybe he's a Kohen. What do you do with a Bechor? You said before a second ago, according to this chat, that you don't give him the Bechor. But he doesn't have to give a Bechor either. If he has a Bechor, and his flock was born a firstborn male, so you don't have to give it to the Kohen. But what does he do with it? If he's going to, if he can't eat it, he can't eat it.
He can't eat it, but doesn't have to give it away.
So what's he going to do? And he can't sell it either. You can't sell it either. By Truma, you're allowed to sell. Before, you're not allowed to sell. So what do you do with it? If he should wait, let it pasture until it gets a mum. If he gets a mum, and then he's allowed to eat it as a bechor balmum. You're allowed to eat. Israel is also allowed to eat it. The notion of the chumri Israel. Once again, it says you get all the chumras, which the Gemara said before. Just before, that means that by mincha he's going to do kmitza without eating it. And then the Mishnah ends off. How about if both of the fathers are Kohanim? So he knows for sure he is a Kohen. He knows for sure he's a Kohen. He doesn't know who his father is. He's for sure a Kohen. But he doesn't know he's for sure a Kohen. How did it happen he's for sure a Kohen? How was the second father a Kohen? How did the mother marry after the first marriage? So you can say it can't be that divorced, because if he divorced, then he wouldn't be able to. So it could be almana. But if it's an almana, there'll be some difficulty about that. But at this point, we can say, let's see, that'll be fancy. Yeah, okay, let's see. So let's take the case that the first husband died, and then she got married, another one within 3 months, another Kohen, the kid shows the Kohen, he doesn't know who the father is. Who onein alehem? If one of the fathers died, he is an onein. The onein means that the day that a relative dies, so you're not allowed to eat kachim. The day that a relative, it's not the onein we call nowadays. Onein nowadays is a rabbinic term that means until the burial. But that's not what the term onein really means. In the biblical term, it means that the relative is not allowed to eat kachim the day of the death of a relative. No, the day of the death. No, the actual day of the death, not a year later, not the anniversary of the death. The day of the death. He's not allowed to eat kachim.
She's a baby.
Who? No, go ahead.
We're talking about the kid that's not even born yet.
So Moshe is asking if the way that she married a second time is because the first husband died.
Right.
So this kid is not going to be a onen till he's born 7 months later. If the first husband died, how is he owning on them? Good kasha? So what are you going to say? That the first husband didn't die. He divorced. So we got into, what do you call that? Catch 22 or something like that? We're going in circles. That's the really most problem. That you say, only Shneim Kohanim, you think right away that there was, she's an almana from the first husband, but these words don't make sense. Who owning our land? That he's an owner when they die. He's not, when they die, he wasn't born yet. So that's the problem, technical problem. Who aim owning our love, and here's even more problem. And they, when he dies, when this kid dies, so they, who? The two fathers, are owning on him. That doesn't sound like they died. If the first one died, he wouldn't be an owner. He's dead a long time ago. So you say that what that was that he divorced. But if he divorced, the second one couldn't have married.
Why can't it be brothers of the other husbands?
Yeah, that maybe I've listened is asking that maybe the word alehem and haim doesn't mean the actual fathers. Maybe it means the family of the fathers, not only the man who died. But a nice point. But maybe Machabus asked that also. I guess he says that maybe the point is that the word alehem and haim does sound like the fathers themselves. The Gemara is going to look that it means the father, the first father themselves, and that is not possible. He can be an owner, they can be an owner on him if he died so many years ago. So that's the most kasha. But it would be a possible teres, maybe the Gemara doesn't say that. Who enim matamim lahem, v'hem enim matamim lo. That the halach is that Kohen is allowed to be matami to a relative, but he doesn't know if he's a relative or not. So therefore, the same problem again, who died over here, but the words technically would be that if they die, he doesn't become defiled to them because he doesn't know if he's a relative, he doesn't know if it's his father. And when he dies, those two fathers won't be able to be an owner on him because to be matami to him because they don't know that it's a son. Right there. Who any Yoresh our son, when they die, he doesn't get a Yerusha. Because he doesn't know that he's a son. The other Yarshim say, you prove that you're a son. We don't know that you're a son, so he doesn't get the Yerusha when they die. But if he dies, Avalheim Yarshim also. Now, each one of the fathers also doesn't know that it's a son, but both of them together is Manavshach, one of ours. So they come together to Bezdin and say, together we want to claim the Yerusha because it belongs to one of us. Then they'll divide it amongst themselves, but they have a claim to the Yerusha because one of them is the father. A son who hits a father or curses a father is chayiv misa. But here, he's not allowed to hit or curse them. But if he does, he's not chayiv misa because you don't know that it's a father. How do you say this Kohen, both of them are Kohanim, and they had 24 mishmoros. Each week a different mishmar went to do the avoda. So he has two fathers, not two fathers. He has one of two fathers. He doesn't know who his father is, and they have different mishmaros. So which mishmar does he go to do avoda? The Kohen's supposed to do avoda once every mishmar, but he doesn't know who his mishmar is. So he goes to both of them. He goes to both of them, and they can't. The mishmar can't stop him. He has a right to come to. He has the right to come to both mishmaros, but he doesn't get the ein cholei. But he doesn't get any portion. It means when they give out things to the mishmaros, they say the mishmar says maybe you're not an mishmar. So he does have a schus to work, maybe even obligation to work but he doesn't get any schus because they don't know it's from their mishmar. If both of the Suffolk fathers were in the same mishmar, then he does get an obligation to get a right to get. He gets one because he's a Kohen from that mishmar. Okay, beautiful. The Gemara continues. This we had a couple of times. We had already before. Whenever there's a din, he has to get chalitza and yibum. Like it says over here on the top, Echad Cholas, on the third line, Echad Cholas Vechad Miyabim. That Echad Cholas Vechad Miyabim. So what happened over here? That they were brothers from the first father, brothers from the second father, and he died. This suffix died. So it says that from the two sides, you have to get chalitza and a yibum. You have to get chalitza from both sides, or chalitza from one, yibum from the other. But you have to chalitza first, because if you do yibum first, maybe the yevamos l'shuk, she didn't get freed from. Maybe she's yevamos. That says again and again. Whenever you say that echad cholas v'echad miyabim, you need the chalitza first, or else you might be getting yevamos l'shuk. Nu Gemara, Amash Shmuel. We start from left field, and then we're going to come back to our Mishnah. Amash Shmuel. Asara kohanim omdim upiresh echad mehem uboal avlat shtuki. Shmuel says if there are 10 kohanim present, and one of them went out of the group of 10 and was boal a woman, and we don't know who the father, we don't know which one. It means we know that definitely the father's a Kohen because the only one's in choice, but only 10 Kohanim. One of the 10 Kohanim was boal a woman, and you don't know who he is. Avlat shtuki. The son that's born from this woman is a shtuki. Shtuki usually means someone you don't know who the father is. Shtuki means like quiet it down. When you ask who the father is, hush it up because You don't know the answer. We don't know who the father is. That means usually like a suffix mamzer usually. Usually shtuk is a suffix mamzer because you don't know who the father is. There's a woman and you don't know who the father is. Who knows who he is? So usually that's the case. But over here it's not the case because we know for sure the father's a Kohen. We all 10 kosher Kohanim. So the son is not puzzle. So what's the shtuki over here? My shtuki. What does it mean? Quiet. Sometimes it means that he doesn't have a right to get the estate of his father, Yerusha, because we don't know who his father is. But that goes without saying. Pshita, miyadin abu manu, you don't know who the father is. So surely he doesn't get a Yerusha. Of these 10 Kohanim, you can't get a Yerusha from anybody. You don't have to say that as a shtuki. That's pasha. So what does he mean? Shmuel meant to say, that we quiet him down from the kahuna. He's not eligible to be a Kohen, even though he's definitely a Kohen. He's definitely a Kohen. But you tell him you can't do avoda, you can't do it, you can't serve, you don't have a din kuna. Why not? It's only going to be a Kohen, not the kula. He's not allowed to marry Grusha. He gets the Chumash, but he doesn't get the privileges of a Kohen. My timer. Why? Amar Kra. Vaysallah was a Rach. The video is talking about the Kohen, Bris Kunas Olam, beginning of Parshas Pinchas, that the Kohen is going to be to him and to his children afterwards. The Inan Zaro Miyuchas Acharav. Only if he knows who his ancestry is. Yeah, a Kohen he knows he's a Kohen, but he doesn't know who his father is, so he doesn't have a din Kohen. At this point, the Gemara might think that is the Raisa. The Gemara will say that's Rabbanan.
But I thought we said in the Mishnah that he does the avoda.
Very nice, very nice. Very nice.
Said, go do the avoda for sure. You're a Kohen.
Very nice, very nice. Levi Yaakov jumped
To the Mishnah.
Jumped to 10, 15 lines.
I did.
That's the most conscious. The Mishnah says, the last line of the Mishnah, that he goes to do avoda. And he doesn't know his father is. He's definitely a Kohen, either from the first father or second father, but he does avoda. It's against Shmuel. So that's a kasha. Shmuel says he doesn't do avoda, and the Mishnah says he does. So Levi Yaakov got on the kasha. The Gemara might take longer to ask the kasha, but that's going to be the kasha, or part of the kasha at least. That's the most kasha. Master for a papa. The papa has the kasha. Where are you? That was the answer. Oh
yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
Not a Master kasha. Master for a papa. Because it says Lazar Acharov, it means that you have to know who the father is. Not only by Cohen does it say Lazar Acharov. By Avram it says it also says by Avram, your seed after you. I'm going to make the fancy drasha that you have to know your father is, that if you don't, you're not Jewish. What does the pasuk mean over there? What is the pasuk warning about over there? That doesn't mean he has to be dafka avada. He knows who his father is. He's surely Jewish. You can say about kahuna, but he doesn't have to be in order to be Jewish. He doesn't have to know who his father is. They're different drasha over there. That the pasuk is saying, don't marry a goya or a shifcha because your children are not going to be after you. Means the pasuk is saying it's a drash, not a pasuk shot, but the drash over there is going to be, don't marry somebody who's going to cause your children not to be Jewish. Don't marry a goya or eved or a shifcha because your child is not going to be Jewish. Make sure that your children continue in the Jewish faith and the Jewish lineage. So no kasha. So Shmuel still holds on that a Kohen who doesn't know his ancestry is not a Kohen. Mitzvah kasha from a different Mishnah or Brisa. Rishon Rolios Kohen Godel. That's a case earlier in the Masechta. It says on the side it was on the Lamed Zayin, and over there the case was that someone did Yibum before 3 months. This is a more serious case. Someone did Yibum within 3 months, and she became pregnant. And we don't know if it's from the first husband. That's serious. Because if it's from the first husband, that means someone did Yibum, a man died without children, and they're supposed to do Yibum, he's supposed to wait 3 months. He didn't wait because you have to make sure that she's not pregnant from the dead husband.
Yeah.
If he is, then it's no Yibum.
Yeah.
And she didn't wait, and she had a child right away. And the question is, maybe it's from the first husband. And then there's no Yibum, and then what?
There's mamzer.
Who's the mamzer?
Oh, the baby.
Go ahead, which baby?
The one that's going to be born.
No, the one.
The one's- why is he a
it's
mamzer?
the husband?
So that's the trick over there. That over there, there's no mamzer on that kid. That kid surely is not a mamzer because who's his father? If his father's the first one, so fine. So his mother did not marry afterwards. His mother did the chivikaris, but he was born from the first father. So there's not a mamzer. And if he's from the second husband, so then there was supposed to be yibum. That's what it says over there. That the kid who's born
Will be okay.
is okay. The mother has a problem because she was maybe Mazana with a brother-in-law. And the kid, if she stays with the second husband, if she stays with the Yavam, then the kid's born after going to be Suffolk Mamzer. That's a Suffolk Mamzer. The kids who are born with the second husband, because how could he stay? Maybe there's no Yibum, and he's not married your sister-in-law without a mitzvah. But what the Gemara wants is this point.
All right.
What?
All right.
Suffolk arise, yeah, Suffolk. But the point is what Nachshon said, that the first one, Manavshach is kosher. The kid that's born, the 7-month baby is born, he's kosher because either he's the son of the first, so then he's not a son of Yibum. He was son before, he born before. If he's born in the second one, it means that the first father did not leave any sons, and there was Yibum, and he's good. So, and it says that the Bryce wants to be extreme. It says, Rishon earlier is Kohen Gadol. If the one who's born from that, if both of them are Kohanim, they're obviously both of them because it's a Yovam, so they're brothers. So if it's a family of Kohanim and this woman married within 3 months, so the first kid born could be a Kohen Gadol. He is a Meyuchas. He's not a Suffolk Mamzer. The brother might be a Suffolk Mamzer, the one who's born afterwards, but it could be a Kohen Gadol.
Rishon means the
Rishon,
husband.
no, Rishon means the one who's born
From
first.
the first husband.
The Suffolk first husband, Suffolk second husband. Say it again.
Rishon means
The one who's
if
born.
he was born from the first
No,
husband.
Rishon means the one that's born first. The one that's born, the woman who her husband, the Kohen, died without children, and she did Yibum to the brother Kohen within 3 months, and they had a son. That son is called Rishon. Then she stayed married to him, and she had a Sheni. The Sheni is the Suffolk Mamzer, because we don't know if that she's born from the second husband. We don't know if that's Yibum or not. If it might have been Stammer's sister-in-law, but the first one that's born,
Well, the first one, the first suffix, it's also a suffix.
yeah, right, he's a Suffolk. We don't know.
Rishon suffix is Rui the Kohen.
Right. And the kasha is, Shmuel said, if you don't know who your father is, you can't be a Kohen. Here it says it can be a Kohen Gadol. That Shmuel, you said that if you don't know who your father is, even though you're not a Kohen, you can't be a brother. Here's the case. He's about to be a Kohen, either the first or the second, but he doesn't know what it is. How can he be a Kohen? The answer is, Zam Yuchas Tachav Drabbana, the whole thing is only Drabbana. Even though I said a pasuk, cross Machta. It's just a hint, it's Asmachta, but it's not a real drash. And holding is Rabbanan. So what? If it's Rabbanan, he still can't be a Kohen Gadol. The Chigaz Rabbanan is Nus. This Gzeir Rabbanan is only if there was Nus, like the case Shmuel said. There were 10 Kohanim, one of them was Mazana, even the Pani well Pnuya, but they don't know who the father is, and it was a Mises Nus, so we say not a Kohen. You don't know who your father is, not good. But here it's Ibn Sulah goes Rabbanan. Here it happened through marriage. That it was true that it was Yibum, or he shouldn't have done, he should have waited, but it was not a Mises Nus. So therefore they didn't make this a Rabbanan, he could be a Kohen Gadol. Now the Gemara goes to our Mishnah. Now Levi Yaakov spoke about our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is a case of Znus. Now once you notice, now we'll go back a little bit. We said this in the Shmuel, and Levi Yaakov said it's against our Mishnah. Is it against our Mishnah now? Our Gemara now qualified Shmuel's din is only if it was Znus. If it's Znus, so then Avlad Mishat Mosa within Kuna. If there was a Znus, then we don't allow the son who doesn't know his father, we don't allow him to be a Kohen. Is that difficult from our Mishnah?
No, it was just a suffix, but it wasn't Snus.
Right, and now the Gemara is going to do the other thing we spoke about and figure out that it is Nus. These two Kohanim, what happened? How did she marry the second one after the first one? Did the guy die? He said he didn't die because Onein, all these things, Onein, Onaleim, Tamim, Metamin, you're not talking about the dead. Did it Grusha? If it's a Grusha, so then the second one wouldn't be a Kohen. What else could you say? So the Gemara is going to figure out that it was Nus, that it wasn't a real marriage. The first one wasn't married to the first one. It was just plain Nus, that it was Panim Baal Pnuya. And then it wasn't married. So you see that he's a Kohen, even if it's there as Nus. The Gemara is very smart, no? The Gemara figures out that this cannot be that there were two husbands. How you name Kohen was not two husbands, because if the first one died, the first one didn't die because he's being Onein. There's all kinds of Anilas over here. And you can't say that he divorced the first one divorced, because then the second one wouldn't be allowed to marry. And if she did, the kid's not a Kohen, the kid's a Cholo. So it wouldn't be a Kohen at all. Must be that there was only Znus over here. So that's going to be a right, that even the Znus also, you say that the kid could do Avoda. That's going to be a Kasha on Shmuel. Very smart, no? So here goes the Gemara. Over Znus. We're so late already. Wow, I didn't realize how late we are. What do we do?
Keep going.
We continue till the bottom?
Yeah.
I hope everybody waiting online is okay with that. Online on Zoom. Okay, the Gemara continues. Where are we again? Over Znus, me, Gazu Rabbanan. But I'm going very fast. No, I don't get it. I'm saying so fast, no? So how come it took already an hour and a quarter?
Because you ask questions, but you're not.
And everybody does it in 45 minutes? I don't get it. Okay. Over this, I'll try to go fast. I don't know. Over this,
ask questions.
It's also been like an hour, 15 hours, 20 minutes.
Okay.
It's been a long wait.
Over this, because of Rabbanan, but none. I'll show you from our Mishnah that even when it's Nus, also the Kohen is still a Kohen. even though he doesn't know who his father is. This is the older. This is Mishnah that she didn't wait 3 months and she got married and she had a child. What's the case that she didn't wait after her husband? That the first husband died. Keep on reading. Who own in Allah, they own in Allah. That he's an onin if they die, and they're an onin if he dies. Who own in Allah. I give you a case that even though they died a long time ago, the first husband died a long time ago before he was born. How could it be a case this we didn't think of? But the Gemara is going to find a case that could be an onin for the father who died many years ago. How could that be? It's only the day of the mitzvah. They take out the word the sheni. They take out the word the sheni. Ben suin velikot at samos the kama. That the first dead husband, even though he died many years ago, but they what do they call it when they take out the bones? Well, they take out what do they call it when they take out a grave?
Exhume.
Exhume. They exhumed the first father, the first suffix father, and there's a din of aninus on that day. Even though he died a long time ago, there can be a so therefore there's a din again that the relatives are owning them that day. So that's the case. Okay, wouldn't bother. We have a case that he's owning long after his father died. How could it be that the fathers, are owning on him? The father died. The first one died a long time ago. If the first husband died, so that's out. It can't be that the first husband died. So what happened? Must be he divorced her. That he divorced the first husband divorced, and that's why she married somebody else within 3 months. And get bala means after he divorced her. No, Ema Sefer, keep on reading. It says they made him low that if they die, so you can't become tummy to them because you're a Kohen. You're not allowed to become tummy. Is that true? That the father divorced. The father's alive. The first father was alive also, but he divorced his wife. And now the question is this kid his kid or not? So we'll say that he shouldn't become tummy because maybe he's not his father. Each one shouldn't become tummy. Maybe he's not his son. How come the son cannot become tummy to the fathers? Means that he has a suffix of 2 fathers. He doesn't know who's his father. How come he can't become tummy to them? He doesn't know if it's his father or not. We understand he can't come tummy to the second one. Maybe he's not his father. He's a Kohen, and maybe this is not his father, so he can't become tummy to him. But to the first one, he should. If the first one dies, he should be able to become tummy. Why? If it's his father, so he's allowed to be tummy to his father. If he's the son of the second one, then also he's allowed to be tummy to the first one. Why? Because he's not a Kohen. If the first father divorced his wife, the first man divorced his wife, and then she got remarried, she's divorced, and she married a Kohen. So the kid who's born is a cholo, because if a Kohen marries a grusha, the kid's a cholo. So the kid doesn't have a din of a Kohen anymore. So why can't he become tummy to the first man? The kasha is a beautiful kasha, no? Very thought out. That if the first husband divorced his wife and then she married another Kohen, which made the son a cholo, so this cholo is not to become tummy. He's like Yisrael. So there's no din. He's not allowed to become tummy to the. So why, when the first husband died, why shouldn't this suffix son become tummy? Either is his father, and if it's not, I'm not a Kohen. So that's not the case either. So he said not that the first father died, not that the first father divorced. So what is he? What's the case? Ella, Lav, Biznus. The case was she wasn't married to the first husband in the first place. She wasn't married to him. Of course, not an Ish, then surely not. So what's the case? Biznus. What doesn't mean that she didn't wait after her husband, after her boel. Not a baal, not a real husband, just a boel. So what does it say? That there's a case of znus. One Kohen had relations with her, and within 3 months, another Kohen had relations with her, and it still says that he's a Kohen. The Ketani Sefer, Ola b'mishmar shalzeh. You got the Levi Yaakov's kasha. Here's the kasha that you see that it doesn't. But the more I want to prove that it's znus, that the more I have to do more than Levi Yaakov. The more I have to prove that it's even a case of znus, and it's against Shmuel who says by znus we don't let him be a Kohen if we don't know who the father is. Chifta de Shmuel. I can find you a case that there was a katan. The first one was the woman was a katan when she married Ketana, when she married the first Kohen, and now she dissolves the marriage by just doing meal.
We're going to come up with an answer why it's not snus.
Yes, very good. That is not snus. A case of a woman who had relations with a Kohen, and not that he died, and not that he divorced, and not that it was nus. Go figure it out. They want to figure it out. That is the case of Mama Enes, that she was a
Not called a woman before she was
What?
married in Bulgaria. She's not called a woman.
She's not called a woman.
I mean,
It's called married. She's married.
She was married, and the question who the son is. The question here is who the son is. There's a son born, and we don't know who the father is. What's the case that there's a son who doesn't know his father is that fits into this bill over here? So the Gemara says she was a ketana when she married the first husband, and she dissolved the marriage by miyun. Miyun means she just refuses, she doesn't want it. And that's not called a divorce. And she's allowed to marry a Kohen now. She's allowed to marry a second Kohen. It's not called that she was divorced.
But, and she could have had relations,
Why not?
because I thought that he married her and then he waits.
He should have waited what do you mean? He should
No. Who was it? Her brother that married her off? Who married her
No,
off?
no, no, not the father. The father died.
Okay,
The father
so
died, and
mother's brother married her off. And then right
to
away
a
she can
Kohen.
have relations.
She had relations. She had relations. In fact, she even became pregnant, but she refused him, and she
After
went
she-
out and
But
she
refused him.
before
After
she had
she-
relations. She refused him. She got married to another Kohen within
now she
3
got
months, and
pregnant.
then
Now
we
she's
see she's
pregnant.
pregnant. We don't know who the father is. Maybe it's the first, maybe it's the second. And here, everything fits into it's no znus and no grusha. Everything fits. And the father's alive. The cold case, he didn't die. He didn't die. He's around. Onan, the Talmud. Everything's beautiful. It fits. And Shmuel's not a kasha because that's znus over here. But the Gemara says
She refuses before she's what?
before she has a device of marriage. Before she has a device of marriage, before she grows up, she's allowed to do miyun. She dissolves the marriage retroactively. There was no such marriage. It was not a gift.
And she's pregnant.
And she got pregnant. Oh, she got pregnant? Such a young girl got pregnant?
Yeah, that's my question.
That's the most kasha.
Oh.
Mama Enes Miko Yolda. Could she have given birth? What's the cheshbon now? That she had relations and then she dissolved the marriage and she got somebody else within 3 months?
Just a few days before she turns 20.
Is it 12 or
Will
12 and a half?
will she be able to give birth? That's most kasha. Tani Rabdeva Kameda Rav Nachman, 3 women should have relations with a contraceptive, we'll call it. Misham says moch means he puts in a cloth in order that
The moch is something-
moch is a cloth. It's a cloth. We call a rag. That means that you put something in the vagina that she shouldn't conceive, or any kind of contraceptive, because it's dangerous for her to become pregnant. Ketana mubera sumanika. We had this Gemara someplace else. We spoke about it. So ketana, minor, and muberis, a pregnant woman, that she shouldn't become again pregnant in a way that it'll cause difficulties to the uber. And manika, if she's nursing, we don't want her to become pregnant while she's nursing. Anyway, what does it say? Ketana shem b'tisaba v'tamos. Maybe she's going to become pregnant and die. Maybe it's going to affect the other uber that's already there. Maybe she'll wean her child and she'll die. Anyway, what do we want? From 11 to 12, that's the time that she should take contraceptive. Before 11, no chash that she become pregnant. After 12, there's no problem if she becomes pregnant. The Chama says she doesn't have to take, all these cases don't have to take any kind of precaution that she shouldn't become pregnant because Hashem will take care of her. And Hashem should have rachmanis, but you don't have to do such kind of precautions. Hashem guards the fool. Anyway, what do you see? That the Gemara thinks that it says over here that she can't become pregnant before 12, because if she becomes pregnant before 11, she doesn't become pregnant at all. Between 11 and 12, if she becomes pregnant, she dies.
Well, it's a sakana. I don't see it.
So the Gemara talks about earlier, doesn't mean Shemet Tisaba V'Tam, Shemet Tisaba V'Shematam. But that's the Gemara before. Doesn't mean if she becomes pregnant, she's definitely going to die. Here the Gemara is going on the assumption that if she becomes pregnant, she's going to die. Not she become pregnant and it'll be dangerous. It's dangerous to become pregnant because if she becomes pregnant, she's going to die. That she shouldn't become pregnant because if she does, she's definitely going to die. That's what the Gemara seems to say. And the kasha is, if so, he still didn't find the case. The case that Lema Enes is very nice, but she didn't give birth. The kid was born afterwards is not from her because she wouldn't have been living about it. So the Gemara tries another case. Again, we said it's not a case that the first husband died, not that he divorced her, not that it was nus, and not that it's Lema Enes. So what is it?
Maybe she became pregnant just at the end of the 12th, that the baby is born, and she's already 12.
I'm not sure what you mean to say.
If she becomes pregnant just before.
Well,
12, 2 days before.
I don't think that helps the issue, but we have to wait. I mean, I don't see what you're saying, but
No,
That's just-
maybe that 11 to 12, 2 days.
I don't think that it
Still be
helps, but
dangerous.
maybe I would have to figure it out. I didn't get it yet, but I will try to do it, but that's where already 12:24.
Are we at Mishkachas?
Yeah, the answer is Mishkachas la b'kedushay tos. The case will be that the first marriage was a mistake. That they made kedushin, they thought everything was kosher, but then they find out there was a mistake. Something misunderstanding. I thought you were this and you really are that, whatever the case would have been. And Kedusha tells me is that retroactively there was no marriage. So it's not called znus.
It's not called znus, it's not called death, and it's not called.
Gerushin, right? And therefore the case could be, you can find the case. Shmuel's din is still true that if a kid doesn't know who his father is, there's znus. If the kid, then the kid is not a Kohen. The Mishnah's case is where it was not znus. What's the case? I'll give you a case.
You can't go to the vote.
Right. The Mishnah's case is going to be where it doesn't get into znus. What's the case? That she married, a very nice official marriage, a gedola marriage, everything. She's already having children. She's childbearing age, but it comes out that the first marriage was a mistake. So it was dissolved retroactively, and she married somebody else. And therefore, you have a case of a suffix who the kid was born. You don't know who's the father, first or second, and all the halachas apply. Talks about a case that a woman who's muzana, not by force, she's not allowed to be with her husband. On his pasuk muteris. If it was against her will, then she'd be allowed to be with her husband. This pasuk seized. Usually you translate with a samach, yes, with a sin. She wasn't seized. It wasn't against her will. A woman, this by a sota, that if she had relations not against her will, she's also to her husband. If it was against her will, she's mutter to her husband. There's another case that even if she was mizana beratzon, she's still mizana. She had relations beratzon, she still is mutter. What is that? If the marriage was a mistake, that even though she had relations and willingly, but the kid she still is not considered a marriage, and she's allowed to go back to her first husband. Even if she already has a child, she's allowed to go to do miyan. What does that mean to say? Book of riding. Her child is riding on her shoulder. She has a baby already. And usually, once she's a gedola, she can't refuse the husband. But a kedusha tos, she could. Kedusha tos means that the thing was a mistake. Even if she finds out after she had a baby, and they find out that the thing was a mistake, the whole marriage was a mistake. So it's not a marriage.
But we're worried about Kohanim here. I mean,
So we have a case that a Kohen happened over here, such a case. Kedusha, she got married a Kohen,
right.
and then it came out as a kedusha. She's already a gedola, everything's good. Then she finds out that it was a mistake, and she leaves, and she doesn't wait 3 months. She marries another Kohen, and the whole case of the Mishnah could make sense. Yes, I'm sorry for being 27 minutes overtime, and everybody is waiting over. She's allowed to go on and be to refuse. Let's say you had that word about 5 lines ago, right? Here you had it about refuse, right? Where's the Gemara Ma'anis? I found it. I lost it already.
That was with
Ma'anis, over up here. Ma'anis.
Yeah.
That's a refuse, but usually refuse is a girl who's not yet kedusha the rights because she's a young girl. But this is Ma'anis that she's already an older lady, a woman, an adult woman. But she says this is not a marriage because I thought that your name was. I thought you were a Levi and really you're Yisrael. I didn't mean this. Kedusha tos.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you and sorry for the overtime. We'll be back in 2 minutes with Tehillim.